because it's people at least get connected.
Yeah. So good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to this session. We'll be starting in few minutes, exactly at 3 o'clock. I think we may have to wait for a few minutes for people to join in.
Yes, sir.
I think, okay.
Yeah.
So Indian Standard Time, so maybe a few minutes. Yeah.
Sure, sir.
Yeah. I'm putting YouTube on another channel. So which are your key clients, if it is not confidential, like just to see what kind of employment opportunities can be there? Of course.
I'm going to cover that in my at the end of my presentation.
Sure.
But yeah, just to name a few, we have PwC, Deloitte, Accenture, TCS,
Oh, okay.
Capgemini, Infosys. So we have all of them. I'm going to cover that at the end of my presentation as well.
Sure. That's it there. So we'll give another 2 minutes and 3-5 will start.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I just put a message to student that yeah, we'll start in 2 minutes. Okay, I think we can start. So, ready, sir?
We can start, sir.
Yeah, we can start. Yeah, I think people will keep on joining, but we can start. Yeah, sure.
You are able to hear me, sir? Are you able to hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay.
Sure.
So, good afternoon to all of you, and thanks for joining this session on RPA, that is Robotic Process Automation. As you know, we are going to get into more and more into the digital world. And as we basically get into more and more into the digital world, automation is going to play a major role. So, whatever the work that is basically done by the humans, some part of the work will be done by this RPA using what are called bots. So today I would like to welcome Basavadarshan. He basically works in company called UiPath. They are basically doing extremely good work on the robotic process automation. And Basav has got 5 years experience in business development, sales, and program management. And he did his BTech computer science from VTU. And he is basically taking the responsibility of academic alliance program for India and SARC for the UiPath company. And in addition to basically doing this work, he is also certified Scrum Master. So I would like to welcome Basav Darshan to basically give the presentation on RPA and about the UiPath company. And we're also planning to see how we can basically work with this company to enable the RPA skills for our students and also for our faculty. So, Basavadarshan, please take the stage. Thank you very much for giving opportunity to listen to you actually on this. So I request you to start the session on RPA.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you, Sanjay sir, and thank you, Reddy sir, for the warm welcome and for this opportunity for me to be present here, interacting with all the students and the faculty of the Anand Sagar University. I'll just share my screen. I would need my acknowledgement so that I can begin my presentation.
Sure. It has not come yet.
Yes. You should be able to see now.
Yeah. Now it has come. Yes.
Well,
Yeah,
thank
we
you.
can see it now. Perfect.
Yeah, video is clear, presentation is on, and you can hear my audio well.
Yes, everything is
Thank you
perfect.
so much, sir. Thank you. So these are the new norms that we have to follow, just to be because we don't get any kind of acknowledgement, nor I'll be able to see the audience with the new tools that we are going to use. Thank you so much, Dr. Sanjay sir and Reddy sir, for this warm welcome, for following up, for collaborating with UiPath Academic Alliance, and having me here today to address your students and faculty on the niche technology of robotic process automation. So before I begin my the presentation, I would like to just put one thought in your mind. So everybody would have heard of this word called automation, right? So we might have heard speakers from various industries, like in different forums, speaking about automation. And one of the key things that comes to people's mind when the moment we say the word automation is that loss of jobs. That's something which is the first thing which comes to people's mind in general, right? So which means you're getting the robot to do something and the human being is going to lose job. This is the myth that we have. So I'm here to convey a message that while yes, automation is there, automation is here to exist and it is going to grow, and there's no other way we can live without automation, but there are going to be n number of much more opportunities which are in front of us because of automation. It is not just one negative thing that we are looking at, which is loss of jobs. With that, let me begin my presentation. Today I'm going to cover what is the technology of robotic process automation, and I'll just introduce what UiPath is, and then what are we doing from UiPath academic alliance perspective to help you the faculty, the students learn the technology of robotic process automation and be ready to face and to start working in the fully automated era that we are looking at, where everybody is looking at an automation first mindset. And then we look at UiPath certified professional program, where you can have a credential for the technology and the knowledge that and the skills that you are having to showcase along with the brand. And then we'll also see what kind of companies which can potentially be your employer to begin your career and build your career with, right? So as I said, see, the word automation, the biggest myth that we have is that jobs being taken away. But here I have different reports from different forums, including the World Economic Forum and different sites like Forbes, which suggests that while of course, yes, we have this, there might be a small percentage of people who might get affected because of automation, but automation is here to stay, and it is creating much more number of jobs than it is taking away. If you look at a report from World Economic Forum, which I've added here in my slide, which says that 58 million net new jobs are going to be created in the next 5 years. It's a huge number to talk about, right? We have a huge opportunity in front of us. It's not just the one. We have different such reports. We have just to consider the number of jobs being taken away. While automation is replacing 8 lakh workers, it is then creating 3.5 million net new jobs, is what one more report says. And then if you're very confined to India, and if you look at the job market in India for robotic process automation itself, there's one more report which suggests that RPA will generate nearly 2 lakh jobs in India by 2021. We are already in 2021. We have a huge potential market in front of us. It's only that we need to be ready to get into the market, to get into the industry with the relevant skill set. So it is not just for the people who are now, for the students who are now studying in the university. It is also for the people who are already working in the IT industry. All right. So reskilling is something which is which we cannot avoid. It's about having the right skills at the right time. So at this point of time, as I said, it is not just you that you need to learn the technology of robotic process automation or artificial intelligence to be in the industry, to be up to date in the industry. It's also for the people who are already working in the industry as well. So here's a report from World Economic Forum which suggests that no less than 54% of employees will require significant reskilling, which is a huge number to talk about, right? That's by 2022. We are just a year and a half away from 2022. That's just a huge number to talk about. And this is again a testimony of the line that I told. It is that reskilling is something which need to be constant. All right. It is not just for the students. It's not just for the the ones who are studying now. It's for everybody. Learning is something which needs to be constant, and we cannot say no at any point of time. I'll give you one example of the banking domain, right? When computers were being introduced in the banking sector, people thought that jobs are being taken away. Computers are going to replace all the jobs, so we'll have no jobs in the banks, is what people thought of when computers were initially introduced in the banking sector. But what are we seeing now? Today, we're able to do all the transaction at a click of a button from our phones. We don't even go to banks. So we can create an account to virtual, the verification is done, everything is done virtually. And then you can just create your account, do transactions, you get your statements, you apply for loans, get your loans, and all the transactions are being done virtually today. So if you have seen this massive transformation, right? So the first thing to answer the question with the myth that people had that when computers are being introduced in the banking sector, the jobs are being taken away. It's wrong, right? We now have lakhs and lakhs of people working in different large companies, working on building the softwares required for the banking sector, building on infrastructure, building the infrastructures required for the banking sector, maintaining all these infrastructure, supporting the softwares and the infrastructure and the training. So there are n number of such job roles which were created because of the emergence of one such technology which was being implemented in the banking sector. So similarly, today we are going to see we are seeing such kind of adoption and such kind of application for the technology of robotic process automation, where it has opened up new set of career paths, it has opened up new set of job roles which did not exist prior, which requires specialized skill set for somebody to learn, to excel, and to build their career upon, right? So if I have to the whole term of robotic process automation did not exist prior to 2015. Of course, automation existed. We had seen automation in the mechanical sector, manufacturing sector. We had people used to write hard coding and build macros to automate. But now what RPA as a technology has done is that we now have a platform, we now have system, we now have tools using which you will be able to automate, you will be able to build your process, you will be able to build automations in a less amount of time, and also deploy and get return on investment in a very short period of time than what would have been taken in a traditional system. And the second thing is that you'll also be able to scale the automation across your organization and have multiple number of robots running and helping you do the task that you want to automate in. But what has robotic process automation as a technology opened up is that it has now opened up career paths which did not exist prior, as I said. So we now have job roles such as being an RPA developer. We now have specialized job roles, being an RPA business analyst, being an RPA solution architect, being an RPA infrastructure engineer, being an RPA consultant, and so on. Right. So what does these of course we've already heard of this job roles, being a developer, consultant, analyst, or being a project manager or an infrastructure engineer or so on. But what RPA has done is that it has opened up career paths in for people who are excelling and who have sound knowledge in this technology of robotic process automation, where you can start your journey as a junior RPA developer and then go on to become an RPA developer, get into business analyst, or you can become a project consultant, RPA consultant. You can become project manager and so on, where you'll not just get a job. It's not just the one job that you're looking at. You can build the whole career in the space of robotic process automation as a technology is concerned. So this is what RPA as a technology has opened up for people to look upon, to aspire to begin their career and to build the career in the space of RPA itself. So we have a report by LinkedIn which was on emerging job reports in India based on the jobs that were posted. You can see 2 among the top 10 jobs are in the space of robotic process automation itself. So one is being an RPA consultant, other one is a robotics engineer, and specifically it is mentioned that it is in the software domain. I'm going to introduce you to the technology, because I'm telling you that we have this technology coming in which is creating a massive disruption on the way people are working and how it is going to be beneficial. And I've told you how we can build our career path in the space of robotic process automation. I'm going to introduce you to the technology of robotic process automation. So what is robotic process automation? In simple words, robotic process automation allows you to configure a computer software. Basically, what you will do is that you will build a software robot, just like how you have your physical robots helping in the manufacturing sector, doing the things what a human being used to do on a repetitive basis, which used to take a toll on them, and it is very much mundane in nature. For all those kind of jobs which are repetitive and mundane in nature, which we do in front of your machines, and if it's structured, we can now build a software robot and we can build automations, and that can actually take do the task that we want, that we are supposed to do, which is repetitive and mundane in nature, right? Anything that is repetitive and mundane in nature can be automated, and this can be anything which is repetitive, mundane in nature, and which is structured can be automated, and so that you can just go and focus on things where you can apply your creativity and skills. and not do something very much boring in nature, right? You don't want to do something which is boring on a repetitive basis. If you're doing something on a day-to-day basis, you will get bored, right? So let us so you will be able to focus and work on those things where you can just apply your creativity and skills and intelligence, and not do something where the job and the task is very much repetitive in nature. That's the whole technology of robotic process automation all about, right? So in basic words, anything that we do on a on a computer, if it is repetitive and mundane in nature, we can automate it, and software robots can do the same task instead of us, so that we can go and work on something very much creative, or where it needs our intelligence to work on, right? So this is the technology of robotic process automation. How can I automate? So how can I begin? So what are the components of robotic process automation? Where can I build the software robots, right? So we have from UiPath, we have something called as UiPath Studio. It's a platform, it's an IDE where you can build your automations. So basically, if you have identified a process, let me give a small example, hopefully to relate to all of you. Since we have students here, one of the examples which I quote everywhere when I'm talking to students, which hopefully connects them, is that we will get these notifications from Facebook every day, right? So at 12 o'clock, it says that today you have so and so's birthday today at 12 o'clock. What do? We go to notifications, we check whose birthday it is, we go and write a message for them. Instead, this is a repetitive thing which we do on a day-to-day basis. I'm just trying to give an example so that you get interest. You will be able to relate to the technology that I'm speaking to. You get related to the repetitive and the mundane task that which we would be doing on a day-to-day basis, where we need not need our intelligence to be applied on, right? So what do? We go open Facebook, check for whose birthday it is, check for on the notifications of the birthday, and then just go ahead and wish them. This is what we do on a typical day-to-day basis, right? So this is one repetitive and mundane process that which we have identified. So this process can be automated, where you can build a robot, you can guide that robot to log into Facebook, check whose birthday it is, and then go to Google, search for a beautiful quote, or if you want to if you want to configure with a standardized message, you can just have a standardized message. The bot can actually go into Google, the bot can actually log into Facebook, check whose birthday it is, and just send them a wish on behalf of you, and you need not log in every day at 12 o'clock. This is one such small example I'm trying to quote for you, so that you get understand, you will be able to understand, you'll be able to relate to the technology that I'm speaking about, right? So, and then we have one more component called UiPath robots. So basically, you will design your automation using UiPath Studio, which is completely graphical user GUI based, where you have a graphical user interface. You will just drag and drop activities, which is very minimal coding, which I'm sure you will love to work on, using which you can build your process automations. So once you identify the process, once you build your process, you can run those processes from the UiPath robots. So UiPath robots basically run the process automations that you have built using UiPath Studio. So these are software robots, mind you. Again, I would like to clarify and remind, because no confusion with the hardware robots that we are talking about. So that's called UiPath robots. And then we have UiPath Orchestrator. So once I build my automation in UiPath Studio, and once I run those automations using UiPath robots, say if I have an enterprise, as a company, I have hundreds of processes which are running, and I have hundreds of bots which are running. I need to manage all those robots, right? To check the status of each robot, to configure the robots at what time the robot needs to be run. Just like the example of Facebook, we need the robot to run at 12 o'clock every day, midnight. So similarly, based on the process, we need to configure at what time the robots need to run, and to manage if all the robots are running successfully, if there is any glitch, if there is any error that a robot has reported, any robot has reported. We have this platform called UiPath Orchestrator, where you'll be able to manage everything in a centralized platform called UiPath Orchestrator. So basically three things. One is that UiPath Studio, where you design and develop your automations. Second thing is UiPath Robot, where you actually build, run the automations that you're going to build using the UiPath Studio. And third thing is UiPath Orchestrator, where You manage all the robots that are in the production, that are being used to execute the automation that you are already developed, and to track the progress of the robots, if it's run successfully or not. These are three things that I want you to remember at the end of this session. And this is a gist of UiPath Studio. You can see, you can just drag and drop the click activity. You can just go to activities, search for the activity that you're looking at, and drag and drop. If you want to do data scraping, if you want to do screen scraping, any activity that typically we do on a machine, right? So that's something you just have to go look for an activity, drag and drop into your workflow, and then begin and then build your automation. It's as simple as it is looking for you at this point of time, right? So let's see what can these robots do, right? As I said, so anything that we do on a repetitive basis in our machines, on a repetitive task, which is mundane in nature, and if it is structured, we'll be able to automate. So what do we do in front of the machine or on a day-to-day basis, right? We use your mouse, we go to different applications, we log into applications, we go to we check our emails, we download the files from emails, we download the attachments, we check the PDF files, we make some calculations, and we extract data. So typically all these things which we do on a machine on a day-to-day basis, on which is repetitive, can be automated. What these robots will do is the same. So all these repetitive things that we do can be done using these robots, right? Something like logging into an application, or moving files from one folder to another folder, or reading data from a certain database, and then writing the data to a different database after doing some calculations. Or if you want to scrape the data from a website and log it and store it in an Excel file. Or if you want to extract data, it can read emails, it can extract data from the PDFs and the emails, and then do some calculations as well. It can just open emails, attachments, download the attachments, scrape the data using optical character recognitions, and then pick out the relevant information that you're looking at, and then make calculations, or paste the data somewhere, or reply back to the email. Everything, all these things that typically that we do on a day-to-day basis in front of a machine, can be automated, right? Provided the whole process is repetitive and mundane in nature. So this is about, we have seen what is the technology of robotic process automation is, what software robots can do, right? And now we'll see what are the different kinds of robots that we have. We have three different robots. The fourth one is us. If we are doing all the things which does not require our intelligence, and which is very much repetitive and mundane in nature, that's us being a robot. Or like it is like it is mentioned as no robots. The first one is attended in tandem, where you have a robot running in your machine. Parallelly, you're also working on your machine on a different things, where it definitely increases your productivity, right? Where the robot is taking care of all the repetitive and mundane tasks that we are looking at, and you're working on something which is different, which is which requires our intelligence probably. And the second one is we have hybrid. I'm sorry. So we have attended in tandem, where we have robots working and you will not be able to work. And then we have hybrid, where a robot can work in background, and you work on a machine at the same point of time. And then we have fully unattended robot, where typically these robots are run on cloud or virtual machines. It does not require any human intervention in the middle, right? So these are the three kind of robots. I'm sorry for the confusion. I'll just repeat. So first one is attended in tandem. I'll clarify. I did a mistake when I was explaining for the first time. Attended in tandem is where we have a robot running in the background and you're working on the machine. The second one, hybrid, is where a robot is working, and then whenever there is an input required by a robot, it comes back and asks for an input from you, and then continues its execution. And the third one is fully unattended, where we have no intervention. The robot starts, begins, executes. At the end, it sends a log to you on the with the summary of the execution as well, right? These are the three types of robots that we are looking at. So basically, to give some examples on the automation, and few use cases in different domains. Finance, I mean, anything which we can automate, as I said, on a typical day-to-day basis, if it is repetitive and mundane in nature. And if you're looking at different domains in finance, supply chain, IT, HR, or customer services, I like to give one example in finance of a banking loan processing system. So traditionally, in the banking loan processing system, where you actually go and fill in the application, provide all the documents as a physical copy, go provide them with all the information that is needed to apply for the loan in the bank, and then somebody in the bank goes through your documents, and then they will actually check for the bank policies, check for your credit score, and they will check your previous credit loan transactions, and they'll check your credit scores, and based on the bank policies and the purpose that you're looking at, you are going to be the loan is going to be approved, or they'll say it is not approved, or whatever the clause is, right? So typically this was the process which was a time consuming process. If you use software robots instead of human beings, and if you take out all the paperwork that we actually do by submitting all the hard copies, and if we just make it an online application, which banks are already doing now, the application is that something which takes few days to process one application is being done in few minutes, where a software robots can take all the input from you, where you can just talk to a chatbot at the front end and say, I'm looking for a loan, and this is the say for example, I'm looking for an education loan for 5 years, for this is the amount that you're looking at, and you can provide all the necessary documents as in terms of PDF as a soft copy, and then close it off. What robot does is that it goes back at the back end. The robot picks up all the data that you have provided, including maybe your pan details, your IT returns details, and it goes back to the authorities like CIBIL websites, and picks up the credit score for your account, for your pan, and then it goes to the bank policies, checks for the purpose of loan that you're looking at, what is the amount that can be sanctioned for you as an individual, and then and once it checks for the policies, and then it scrolls to the bank's database to verify the data that you have given in terms of the address and all the other information that you have given. Once everything is verified, the bot actually comes back and says, look, for the purpose that you're looking at, the bank can actually issue so and so amount of loan at so and so rate of interest for these many installments. And then if you say yes, the bot can again go back and generate a loan agreement, and then come back and ask you to sign it digitally. And if you sign it digitally, you will get the account money transferred to your account immediately. So this is a process which traditionally would take few days, is being now replaced, and software robots are able to do the same thing within few minutes, right? So this is one such example where the software robots are being already used in the industry at this point of time, and which is actually saving a lot of human hours, a lot of time, improving and helping humans save a lot of time, and also the companies saving a lot of time in terms of processing each applications, and also the end user, the customer, gets benefited because he's being able to get the loans at a very in a short duration, which would have taken few days in other words, right? So that's one example. So similarly, I know a few other processes which we can look at is settling the claims in the industry, in your organization. So for the employees, whenever they whenever they travel, or any kind of reimbursement that they are looking at, we can have these robots deployed, where you submit all the documents, maybe using a system or using an email, you can upload and all the information. So what can these robots do is that it can scan through all the receipts that you are providing for reimbursement, and it can verify the information, and based on your designation, based on the permissible levels of the amount that you can claim for the said purpose according to your designation, and according to the policies of the organization, the robot actually verifies it and says, okay, we can go ahead and and settle this claim. So typically this is what would take few days in a traditional system, where a human being has to sit and verify each and every receipt that the employee is providing to claim the reimbursement for any of the purpose that we are looking at, right? This is one other example that we are looking at. Supply chain is one another area where for the inventory management, for the demand and supply, for the planning. Recently we have use cases where right now people, the government is vaccinating people, right? So where the appointments need to be scheduled for people to come to the centers to take vaccinations, and so on. So all these things can be automated, and we have a very good use case on the same thing, where UiPath robots can actually help you in picking up the data of the number of people who needs to be vaccinated, and based on the number of minutes that is taking for each person to get vaccinated, the robots can actually schedule appointments for all the people at the different centers, and send them information through an SMS or an email and communication, so that they can come and take their vaccination at the scheduled time. Similarly, during the lockdown, we had this e-passes issued for the essential goods and services, and for emergency travel purposes, for medical and so on, where you had to go to on online application, and submit an online application for with the government, and then used to get an e-pass, right? Similar in India, with UiPath, using UiPath, we had a use case where uh, UiPath robots picked these applications that people filled, basically requesting them for essential goods pass or medical pass and so on. Based on that, the robots used to check the applications, process the applications, and issue the passes for them to go out, right? This was one more example. Similarly, in IT, these robots can help people monitoring the servers, and it can alert whenever there is a downtime, or whenever there is any bug that is noticed in a server execution. And then similarly in maintenance and monitoring, as I said, right? So typically these are a few examples. In the HR sector, if you are looking at few examples, whenever there's a new employee that's been onboarded, we can have these robots to uh, you know so what happens typically when the new employee joins a company is that the company has to give access for them to all their different platforms, like being an HR platform, for their different various platforms that the employee would be using on a day-to-day basis to manage their records of leave absence. Maybe you'll have a platform for leave absence and so on, and you have a platform for reimbursement claims. You'll have a platform on day-to-day basis to where they'll be working on different such platforms, right? Maybe the internal applications like to chat, like Slack or Microsoft Teams and so on. So all these different applications needs to be configured, which would be a difficult task if your human being is doing it, right? So what can a robot do is that as soon as you generate a new email ID in front of in the name of a new employee that's joining, the robots can actually go and create IDs and accounts in all these different platforms, and communicate to the new employee that we are using these tools, and these here are your login along with the links for your accounts to start using your tools. So this is something which is just one such example for the HR, right? HR. And second thing is, if you are looking at as soon as the salaries has been credited, you can issue the payrolls and the pay slips to your employees, and all the people who are working in the organization, and the robots can actually build, generate the pay slips, individual pay slips for all the employees, and send them through an email. So this is a few examples, right? And at the customer services, so you have seen right now, if you are talking to any of the support application, the first thing that comes is a chatbot, which is a front end of the application. So when you provide, say for example, if you are looking to change password, if you're looking to update something, and now you can talk to a chatbot and even schedule appointments, right? So what happens is the front end, these chatbots take the example, take the data from you, take the information from you, and at the back end, these informations will be used by the robots, built by maybe if you're built using UiPath, these robots will go to the database. As I said, these robots can actually pick up the information that's reading your data, and then update the data that you're requesting into the database, basically writing the data into the database. So these are a different set of examples that we are looking at in different domains where robotic process automation is being used. So we'll now look at one such example where a robotic process automation, a software robot is in action.
Are about to see a robot performing the following activities: monitoring a dedicated folder where invoices are saved in PDF format, reading invoices from that folder one by one, extracting key information from the invoices, opening SAP, filling in invoice details in SAP, sending email notifications. Please note that the robot will do some activities in the background, such as most of the invoice-related actions, monitoring a folder or checking its email address. Now let's see it working. Right now, it's monitoring a folder where 3 invoices are stored and collecting all the information needed so it can register them one by one. It then asks the tester to introduce the email address where the posting notification will be sent, and also performs basic checks to see if the SAP is open and runs it on its own if not. Logging into SAP using its credentials, it then starts processing the invoices one by one. We can see it filling in data such as vendor code, invoice date, invoice number, invoice amount, invoice description, and GL account, and ends up by filling the payment term. Following that, it registers the remaining 2 invoices in the assigned company code. An email containing the SAP registration number is sent automatically by the robot after successfully registering each invoice. Checking in the background, the robot verifies whether the VAT on the invoice matches the one in our database, and if so, will post it automatically. Otherwise, it will park it and send a dedicated email to the responsible person highlighting this difference and asking what to do: post the invoice or to cancel it and send it back to the vendor. All the invoices details are visible in the email it sends, so let's reply with yes to the message for an invoice with a VAT difference. Finally, it will check its email address in the background, access SAP using the appropriate transaction code, and post the invoice. And that's it. The robot has successfully posted the 3 invoices in SAP. We're about to see a
So that was one example on where you saw the robot in action, where it was able to log into a SAP system and do the transaction on your behalf, where it was processing the invoices, which would typically take a lot of time if a human being is doing it, right? So that was about how the RPA, how the software robots are being implemented, right? So we have seen why we have to study, why we have to look at studying robotic process automation, the career paths that we have in the space of robotic process automation. We have seen what is the robotic process automation as a technology. We have seen the 3 main components: the studio, the orchestrator, the robot. The UiPath Studio, the UiPath Robot, UiPath Orchestrator. Studio is used to build the automation. UiPath Robot are used to execute the automations that you're building. The third one is the UiPath Orchestrator, where you're going to manage all the robots that you're building. So this is about the technology of robotic process automation. And then we have seen few examples where different examples where how RPA can be used in different verticals, different domains across the industry, how it is being already used, and it gives few examples for each domain for you to look at. And we have also seen a robot in action. So while we have seen all this, it's time for me to introduce you to UiPath Academic Alliance, through which we have already collaborated with the NN Sagar University, and we are envisioning to help you prepare, help you learn the technology of robotic process automation, and potentially get your next new, build your career upon by finding your, the job that we're looking at, right? So what are we trying to do from UiPath Academic Alliance perspective is that we have committed to train about 1 million people across the globe from UiPath Academic Alliance by collaborating with universities. Basically, we want to institutionalize the learning of robotic process automation, where a student studying in a university gets access to the technology, gets access to the software when he or she is studying in the university itself, so that they can learn the technology and be ready to start working in the industry for the fully automated world that we are looking at, right? So together with universities, as I said, we are now looking at the institutionalizing the learning of robotic process automation by providing all the necessary pedagogy tools, the required resources for the educators, and all the support that is required, so that we help students learn the technology when they are in campus itself, so that they are prepared to face the the and when they just get started to working on in the industry, right? So what are the benefits that each and everybody gets as a student, as an educator? What is the benefit as a student, as an educator, and as a partner institution that you're going to get through our collaboration that we are looking at? As a student, you are going to get our UiPath software, a licensed version of software for the academic purposes of learning, and you will get the curriculum, the course curriculum, where you will be able to learn the technology. And we are already working with the university to make it available as an elective for you, wherein you will be able to choose to learn the technology of robotic process automation as an elective, so that at the end of the course you will be able to get credits for learning the course. And then for collaboration, we're also extending the discount of 50% on all the UiPath certifications that are available. All right, and you will be able to connect to the community and the forum, where we have all the people across the globe, which has about 1 million people at this point of time, where you'll be able to connect, interact, and build your network, and hopefully get your next job too. And then what is the benefit for educators, the faculty that we are looking at, right? So we help faculties in enabling them first, so that they get trained on the technology, they learn the technology, they get the hands-on, and so that they are comfortable and confident enough to experiment and learn the technology and build, so that they can go back and stand and start teaching the students. And we also provide them with an educator kit, which basically has all the slides, the content, the case studies, the projects, the capstone project, and different lab exercises, and so on. And similarly, like students, we also extend the benefit of the academic license to educators as well, where they will be able to download the software for learning and teaching purposes. And we are going to extend the UiPath certification for them, the discount on the UiPath certification for educators as well, right? So by collaborating with UiPath Academic Alliance, the university can stand apart. We are already have been collaborated with the university. And let me now go to the the courses that we are offering from UiPath Academic Alliance perspective, right? So there are three courses that we are looking at. One is Step into RPA course, which is of 4 hours, which will basically introduce you to the technology of RPA. And then where, with the effort of 3 to 4 hours, you will be able to build your first robot hands-on at the end of the course. That's the whole attempt that we're looking at. And hopefully we should be able to offer this. I've already interacted with Sanjay sir, and we should be able to get this opened up for all the students across the university, so that you get to learn the what is robotic process automation. You get to explore the tool first. And then we have one more course, which is basically targeting the business students, which is introduction to RPA for business. It's basically for the BFSI sector and the business students, which where it's about a 14-hour course, where they will get to learn what is RPA and how it can be applied in the business, in the BFSI domain. And then we have a larger course which we are looking at, which is RPA design and development. So RPA design and development is a 40-hour course, and with about 20 hours of lab exercises and 10 hours of capstone project. All in all, we have about 60 hours of content for RPA design and development, where you will get to learn what is RPA till building robots, building full-fledged automation all by yourself at a basic at a foundation level, right? So this after studying this course, you'll also be eligible, and the course is aligned to UiPath Associate RPA Developer Certification, wherein you'll be able to attempt and take up the UiPath RPA Associate RPA Developer Certification after successfully studying this course. So if I have to deep dive into the content of what we are going to get in this course of RPA Design and Development, the course which we are now discussing with university, and the university is looking forward to offer it as an elective for you to choose when you are going to your higher semesters. So basically, this is the course which, as I said, which has about 30 hours of lecture theory, which is again, apart from the definition of RPA, you don't have not much of theory. It's more hands-on. It's from you hit the lab from day one. It's all hands-on. It's all lecture labs, where the lesson is lessons are taught in the lab itself. Where about 30 hours of lecture labs, and then we have 20 hours of different lab exercises complementing the learning that you are going to learn in terms of theory. And then we have 10 hours of capstone projects, which includes the 2 advanced level projects as well. That will make sure that you are confident, you are skilled, and you are knowledgeable in the RPA at the foundation level, and which is mapped to the UiPath Associate RPA Developer certification that we are looking at, right? So why, as a student, you have to learn this technology? Why you have to opt and select to learn the technology of robotic process automation? So you can build automation for yourself, which can actually help you automate in finding your next job. Say, for example, tomorrow, when you have prepared your resume and now you want to apply for jobs, you can build a robot and train and tell the robot on what job roles you want to apply for, and the robot can log into different applications like Naukri, Monster, Indeed, LinkedIn, and so on, and then just start applying using your robot. And you need not worry. All you have to do is to shortlist the job roles which you want to look at, and then you can build a robot which can actually go and apply everywhere, which is very difficult for a human to do, right? You can apply for 100 companies, but if it is beyond that, you will go crazy. You'll not be able to go and upload every time, right? So that's an advantage, right? This is one thing. And this is the biggest application for you as a student. You'll be able to build automations, you'll be able to build projects which can help you as an individual. The second thing is, you'll be able to do your full-fledged projects in the final year, build your full-fledged projects, and then by opting this subject, you'll also be able to get credits upon successfully completing the examinations and the projects as well. And then what else you can do? You can actually help identify the processes which are repetitive in your department, and help your department and your university to adopt automation and help them automate the processes which are repetitive in the system, right? That's something which you can do. So that's why, why and how it's actually useful as a student for you to learn the technology of robotic process automation. So we have seen about technology, we have seen about the RPA design and development, which would be offered as an elective for you to choose and learn. And then at the end of the course, you can also look at taking up the UiPath certification, wherein it is like adding a credential to your skill set that you already have. You can add a brand to your expertise of robotic process automation that you will have. And then with that, you will also have the credibility, because these are proctored examinations taken in prometric centers like Pearson, and where any potential employer will be able to verify your credential at a click of a button. And then you will be able to add the brand of UiPath and tell that you are UiPath certified professional, and showcase the world and the potential employer that you are certified and you have a valid credential to look at, right? And for the employers, they'll be able to manage your and check and verify your credentials that you're going to submit at an easy just a click of button in an easy way. how can you get certified, right? So basically, if you are studying RPA design and development, that is aligned to our associate examination that I told. So at associate examination, and we have the UiPath associate RPA developer certification. And after that, we have now launched the advanced UiPath advanced RPA design and development course as well, which will be rolled out very soon, and for on which the faculty would also be trained after they complete the foundation training. And that course is aligned to the advanced certification. So you can just choose what examination to look at, that you're looking to take up, and then learn the appropriate training. If I have to go back and explain how you can actually learn, one is that, by opting it as an elective, where you can just go back, select the elective when the university offers it, study, and then once the course is completed, build projects, practice your skills. And then we have the practice test in our certification platform. Just go out, it is free, so you can go and take up the practice test, and then you'll be ready for the associate certification examination. Similarly, we have a platform called UiPath Academy, where you can just go, log in, create your account, and learn RPA developer foundations learning plan all by yourself through self study, and get ready. So that's an alternate if you are if you want to kickstart immediately now. And similarly, for the advanced course, we have RPA advanced learning plan in the academy, or we are going to be offering RPA advanced design and development course shortly in the university itself as an elective to begin with, wherein again the process is again same, where you will learn the technology first, and then go practice the technology, and then take up the examination. So as I said about UiPath Academy, you can learn from the UiPath Academy, where you have all the courses starting from RPA Starter, which basically introduces you to the technology of robotic process automation till artificial intelligence topics, covering artificial intelligence, everything at free of cost. All that you have to do is to just create your account and start learning in the UiPath Academy. And then, as I said, you have UiPath certification at the end of the course. Once you complete your learning in the academy or from the college, if you want to take up the UiPath certification, you can go to uipath.com/certification and look at identify the certification that you're looking at and begin. And we have something called as forum, where anytime, anywhere you're stuck in a project, or anywhere you're stuck in some process, you can just log on to forum.uipath.com and just you can just post your query, and somebody from across the globe will respond to you immediately from the forum, so that you get your query solved, and go on. We have a UiPath community where regular meetups are held, wherein you'll be able to upgrade your skills. You'll be able to keep yourself updated on the latest updates, latest happenings in the industry, in the RPA industry as well. And then we have a marketplace where all the, say for example, you build something which is repetitive and which can be used in multiple projects as well. Those kind of repetitive components can be published to UiPath marketplace, and the same will be made available for everybody else to download and make use of, similarly to how we use our Google Play Store, right, or an app store, Apple App Store. It's the same, where you build applications and publish, and people can just download and start using those automations or those robots. So this is what we have, right? So we have spoken about the technology, we have spoken about the scope of the technology, we have spoken about the studio, robot, and orchestrator. We have spoken about UiPath Academic Alliance, through which we have collaborated, and through which we will be able to, the university is going to offer an elective for you in the near future, where you can learn the technology of robotic process automation from the scratch, and then till building robots by your own. And then we spoke about UiPath certifications, where you can add credentials to the skills that you're going to get by learning. And at the end of it, after certifications, it's going to be your jobs, right? This is the list of companies or the client, just of the companies who are our business partners and the clients across the globe for UiPath. You can see Accenture, EY, Cognizant, IBM, Deloitte, PwC, Ethos, Central, Infosys, TCS, Capgemini, Tech Mahindra. And if you have to go ahead, we have PwC, Deloitte, EY, Cisco, GE, Bosch, Walmart, NASA, and so on. Name a company, and we have them in our client list. And this is the testimony of the kind of the growth that UiPath as a company has been seeing. And and this is where you can get your potential next new jobs, right? That's it from my side. I hope I was able to help you in understanding the technology and give a gist about the technology, and and cover take you through where you can get your first job as well, right? And thank you so much. Thank you everyone. Thank you Sanjay sir, thank you Reddy sir for having me here. And I have a question here which I'll take.
Yeah, so just one announcement also. You can type in your questions into the YouTube live chat box, or you can just use this link, come on the stage stream, and you can just directly ask also via audio, whatever you prefer. Fine. Okay. So I have first question. Please put your questions also in the chat box.
Yeah,
So
so we have the question which basically asking, can the license be used for department level automation or personal automation like job application? Again, yes, sir. It is only for teaching and learning purposes, and at an individual level, cannot be used to deploy into production.
okay, sure, thanks.
So we have one more question. Does it involve any coding in RPA? If so, what programming language? So basically, if I have to mention the prerequisite to learn the technology of robotic process automation, if you have learned any programming language, like of course, by default you would have learned C language or any programming language in your first year of engineering, and then in second year of engineering you would have learned Java and Python and so on, right? So having knowledge on any one programming language is good enough for somebody to learn the technology of robotic process automation, and that's kind of a prerequisite. And the whole platform of UiPath is built on .NET, and it's all GUI based. As I said, it's very less of coding. It's all activity based. You just drag and drop activities and proceed from there.
Yeah. Okay.
So basically, apart from that, if you love to build your own models using machine learning, if you have built your own machine learning models, you'll also be able to have them as a process. And if you are building a robot, and if you want to have your model, your trained model in as part of the automation that you're looking at, you can do it as well. You can write your Python code and then use it as part of the execution here.
Yeah. Yeah. I have one more question. This term hyperautomation is being used quite a lot nowadays in the latest Gartner report, etc. So
Yes, sir. Yes.
like,
So basically, hyper automation is where we're looking at multiple technologies coming together. Help in simple words, where the artificial intelligence, we call robotic process automation. We have process mining. We have machine learning. We have artificial intelligence. We have optical character recognition. We have natural language processing. All these multiple technologies coming together to help enterprises automate, to help enterprises automate, so that they have a fully automated enterprise, and where they don't have to basically work on something which is repetitive or mundane in nature, right? So that's where we have hyper automation, is where multiple technologies coming together helping you in becoming a fully fully automated enterprise, in simple terms.
okay. So can we say UiPath supports hyperautomation, or it supports part of
Exactly,
that?
exactly, exactly. Yes.
Okay. Okay. But is it just a kind of term being popularized by one company, or is it commonly used across industry? Because
No, you can see
always
Gartner report as well, right? So so
yeah,
we have,
sure.
no, we are moving towards such era where
Yeah.
we have, it's not just one technology, it's multiple technologies coming together for you to get benefited, right? So as I said,
Okay.
so you can build your robots. It's just simple. You will build a software robot, and then
Yeah.
comes the part of optical character recognition. If you want to scrape the data or read the data from the files or PDF files, or platforms, right? And then say in certain process where you will have to train your robot to certain you will build your machine learning model and train your robot on certain process, right? So we have something called as AI fabric, where you will be able to deploy your trained model into your execution. So we have an end-to-end end-to-end platform where you'll be able to starting from process mining till we have now having the software testing as well.
Okay, sure. So can you give example of any AI or machine learning in this use case? Any example where it's quite predominantly used kind of thing?
um, Sorry, I'm not recollecting any
Sure,
machine
sure.
learning model
Thanks,
where I
thanks.
can quote at this point of
Things
time.
like, for example, this loan application processing or
Yes.
something, where some analysis, some recommendation required, right? Credit, the possibility that person will be credit worthy or something like that, right?
Yeah,
Or
so
insurance
basically,
claims, what is the probability of fake
I had a
claim?
I had a video. I'll have to look for. But so what this is something which is, so what happens is that using the PAN number. If we are in India, we use PAN number, right? So the bank uses our PAN number, goes to CIBIL website or CIBIL or Experian such
Experience,
website,
yeah.
gives the input of our PAN, and then takes up the data. That's what typically the software robot can do, right? It can actually go there using the PAN number that we have. It on behalf of a human being, what's typically which a human being would have done, or else the robot actually logs into the platform. It gives the PAN number, it gives the credentials, picks up the data of the credit score, and comes back. The robot itself analyzes the previous loan transactions as well.
I have one more question. I'm just
Yes,
typing it in. This is usually this AWS gives free credits to startups. No, so do you have something like that? So anybody wants to have startup, using Path, etc. So is there some initial first year discount or free access or something like that?
So we have and we have the community edition of software which anybody can use to download and learn. It is free for
Okay,
everybody basically.
anybody. Okay,
But if you
okay,
are if you're it's just to download and start using and build your automation, but you're not supposed to deploy it.
okay.
So for the
Only
deploy
deployment.
into production, yes. So for the question that you have asked, we don't have any free credits as such yet. Maybe I can update you once we have any.
Yeah, you can consider, because there are a lot of companies. You see, today, for example, there are a lot of student teams here who have started web technologies kind of startups, like where they support big companies into their pages and all kinds of things. So
Yes.
similar thing is possible that some student level, once they get it, either they can take up job or they can possibly
Yes.
do this
So we had
automation
got
for
this.
multiple companies. Yeah.
Some time back as well, by a different university. But I think this is something which I have to make note of and
Sure.
propose it internally, and so on.
Sure. Yeah.
So there's one more question which is asking limitations of RPA. As I said, so we are still RPA is limited at this point of time. It is more on structured, where you have structured data, or where we have very step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4 kind of process, where it is very much structured in nature. That's one of the biggest limitation, and the research is on, and we have multiple researches going on, where people are now working on automating unstructured data as well, and also to process the unstructured data as well. That's one of the major limitations, as I can say.
Sure. Sure. Great. Sure. Okay. So looks like I think we are into the question. Anything we'll pass it on or email, or we can get answers. So
Sure,
over to
sure, sure.
Sivis and Reddy, sir. Yeah.
Yes, sir. I think looks to be a promising technology, RPA, and your presentation is extremely good. And whichever the work is monotonous and boring, definitely it can be pushed to the RPA platform. So once again, we wanted to thank Mr. Basav for giving this presentation and making us to understand about the RPA platform and contents of the platform. And it is very easy to use. only with 3 components. So we wanted to take this relationship forward, and also we wanted to spread this RPA technology across our students' domains so that more and more people will be available to work on this domain for you. So with that, I wanted to thank you for your time and extremely good presentation. Okay, thank you very much for your time and presentation.
Thank you,
Appreciate
sir.
it.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Sanjay sir, and thank you, Reddy sir, for this opportunity for me to be presenting here. It's a virtual world, and it feels good to connect to students and talk to everyone virtually. I hope we will get to meet sometime physically and talk to them directly. As an action plan from here, we can one point to look at is that students can go to UiPath Academy immediately and create their accounts and start their learning on robotic process automation. Second thing is that we will work. I've with my discussion with Sanjay sir, we'll work on getting the course of step into RPA uploaded into your internal LMS, so that all the students will get to learn the technology of RPA, introduction to RPA, step into RPA course, so that they get to understand the technology better and they build their first robots with the effort of 2 to 3 hours itself. Not much of investment of their time is concerned. I'm sure once they do that, they'll love the technology, because they will see a bot in action at the end of 2 hours of effort that they're going to put at. That will hopefully build that interest for them to take up the course of RPA design and development, which is a full semester course which can be offered as an elective going forward. Thank you again, sir. Thank you so much for your opportunity. It's wonderful to be here and talking to all the students and all the faculties. Thank you so much again. Looking forward to working together with Anand Sagar University in future. Thank you.
Thank you very much.